Well, the week started okay. Before the crazy heat wave came through, I was able to get up the allotment and plant out our celery plants, which we'd grown from seed. It's the first time we've ever done celery, and apparently this is a self-blanching variety, so you don't have to put it in trenches, you can just put it in like normal plants. So we had 36 plants to go out, which is probably way more celery than we'll ever eat, but hey, we've grown them. And we had some room in the brassica cage, and we've had a whitefly problem, so we've decided that actually we don't think whitefly are going to go onto the celery. So here they are. We've planted out 36 plants. They've had a water because apparently celery does not like to dry out, so we need to keep these well watered, especially in the week coming. There we go, just the final can going on, and that is that job done. But then the heat wave hit. And to be honest with you, we haven't been able to do much for the rest of the week apart from sit near the fan and the air conditioning unit. It's just been sweltering, probably not as bad as some parts of the world and not even some parts of England. But you know what? We've realised we're getting old and we just don't like the heat now. But we're not the only ones. Poor old Martha, she's got a thick furry coat on, and these poor little doggies, they do not like the heat, do they? So we've been able to keep this part of the house pretty cool for her, and she's done really well. And we've been going out early mornings for walks so she can still get a little exercise. Now, I came up with this ingenious idea. Some of you will notice this is the uncapping tray from when we do our honey production, and we thought, well, we haven't got a paddling pool for Marth, so why don't we just fill this with water? Because apparently if dogs keep their paws cool, that helps them cool the whole body down. So we thought, well, she's a Labrador, she loves water, so we'll fill this tray up, put it under the parasol, and she'll probably just stand in it and she'll think this is like bliss. So anyway, there's the little tray just about full of water, and Glenda's leading her out. Look how happy she is. She is pretty excited about this. And then she just wouldn't go in it. Glenda was trying to encourage her. She was splashing it around, saying, come on, Marth, in you get. But no, Marth was having none of it. She got very scared of the water. Unbelievable. Now, if we went near a river, she'd be straight in there. We get a little tray out in the garden, and she won't have any of it. And look at her. She's just being a big old baby. Our 6-year-old Labrador baby, and she's like, oh mum, I'm so scared. This is really scary. The water's very deep and I don't know if I can get in there. I don't know. Whatever next. You try your best for these dogs, don't you? I'm sure it's the same for you, for people with kids. It just doesn't work. But Marth's not the only one who's overheating. Our honey sale's out the front of the house. It's south facing and it's been getting really hot. So I've had to resort to a cool box with an ice block in it just to stop the honey getting too hot. Because if it gets too hot, then it starts to damage the goodness in the honey. So 2 or 3 times a day, I'm having to get out there, change my ice blocks over just to keep the paying customers happy. So there we go. That's the second change on that day. Lid back on, keep it nice and cool, job done. Now, despite the warm weather, Glenda's flower beds are looking really good. Now, some of this I think is because there may be more wildflowers and we haven't really watered them, to be honest with you. And the cornflowers are looking absolutely fantastic, as is the gypsophilia. Now, to me, this looks a bit like a wild radish. I don't know if they're related. But next door to that, we've got the Dorcas, which is wild carrot, and that's now about to come out into flower. But our black currants, they are loving this hot weather now. Look at them, they're about to turn. So we've got the net on so the blackbirds can leave some for us as well. And we are going to be picking these in the next week, I would think. We tried a couple, they're good. And the tomatoes are loving it as well. Giving them plenty of water. And in the polytunnel, we've now got our first little tomatoes. Bless them, look at those. But the kale plants are not loving it. So I've had to put these on the north side of the greenhouse where it's a little bit more shaded and cover them so the cabbage whites don't lay their eggs. But in the greenhouse where it's warmer at night, the tomatoes are really coming on now. And these are some Italian plum tomatoes. They're starting to grow. The basil is great. Glenda's making loads of pesto and freezing it. So we've got blocks to use out of the freezer. The cucumbers we've got coming out of her ears. And look at our beef tomatoes. I am so excited about these. I cannot tell you. But one thing which is also suffering is our little wildlife pond area. They're not very deep. They're old sand pits which kids play in. And the little birds come down and bath in it and drink out of it, and the insects do. So we are having to regularly top this up because it's evaporating away really quickly, even though it's in quite a shady area. We've got to look after the wildlife in this sort of weather. So we're doing our best. So there you go, pond's topped up and they've got a little bit more water. So out to the front of the house, Some of you will remember I made this little area where we put a bay tree in, and I used some trusty Everedge, and Glenda was sprinkling some wildflower mix that she had. And look at them, they've all come out. There's Canadian poppies, which are the orange ones. We've got regular poppies, cornflowers. It just looks amazing at the moment, and we're hoping that if we let it self-seed next year, it might be even better. But back in the greenhouse, the aubergine plant, we've got a mini aubergine plant, and they are loving the heat as well. Look at this. They are just hanging there like grapes. We've never seen so many, and it's such a small plant at the moment as well. So we've got to harvest these before they get too big and they get seeds in the middle. So here I am with my little harvest of aubergines. I am so chuffed with those. But then I move on to my final job of the week. I've got to change the filters on the water filter. And after I put it all back together, there was a leak, but I discovered it wasn't from the water filter. It was actually the mastic around the sink had gone. This wasn't my doing, but I had to rectify it. So I've taken it all to bits now, I've cleaned it up, and I'm now ready to put it back together. It's looking far less grim than it was, but I'm going to rely on my trusty plumber's putty. I've used it before, so I've got my fingers crossed. And it's all back together. I'm pretty chuffed with that. Ex-accountant turns plumber. Well, we'll see what happens in the next week anyway. But there's one thing to do now, and that's to check, is it watertight? So I've put a clean bowl in, a bit of paper, and we need to run some water through it just to see if there's any drips. And I'm pleased to report there were no drips. I'm well chuffed with that. It was really hot, but it's a job done. I think I may have got a tad cocky because we put all the cleaning products back under the sink, so if it does leak now, I'm not going to be able to see. Oh well, I'll keep an eye on it. Thanks for watching, everyone. That's it for this week. Hope you've managed to stay cool and you're all well, and you have a great week as well, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye.